we don't talk about harvesting.
No.
We don't talk about what's going on with the grapes, the raccoon problem,
Yeah.
damn deer running through the fence and having to repair fencing and things of that nature. So I do think it is good to have that community of people that can tell you like how hard the times can get farming and
Yeah.
how good the times can be. So I think we got all of that from networking in one way or another.
Yeah. I think the thing for me is that, getting into the wine industry and wanting to be in the wine industry, like I feel like that it's this sexy thing or whatever,
Mm.
right? But I feel like that at the end of the day, it literally is a product of farming. And I never actually looked at it that way until like now. Well, I'm Danielle and
I'm Brian, and we are here from our vineyard, and
this is Bivins Family Hustle.
we'll just be getting into some stuff about our life, what brought us here, the different businesses that we've done over time, past careers, how we juggle it all with our family and friends and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Start with
How did we get here?
yeah, how did we get here? I was born in Akron, Ohio, and from there I moved around a good amount of my life, and I wound up joining the military right out of high school. I was stationed, went to boot camp in Great Lakes for the Navy. Then I was stationed on the USS Wasp in Norfolk, Virginia. And in that time, being in Norfolk, a lot of changes happened. I met my wife, Danielle. I guess you could tell a little bit about.
Yeah. I was also born. Yeah, I'm Danielle. I am from Martinsville, Virginia, and which is about 30 minutes away from where our vineyard is located, which is located in Chatham, Virginia, and that's
Hmm.
where we're sitting around right now. On our last day, kind of like of the 2025 season. Like Brian said, we met when in Norfolk. I was a freshman at OD. And I think I literally met Brian like at the end of September.
Yeah,
So maybe like
I
a
was a
couple
boat
months.
boy, in a Crown Vic,
Yeah.
and at the time, and I think we met at the Monarch Club.
Yeah.
Uh, and we kind of been rocking ever since we met, off and on,
Yeah, basically.
and more on than off. I
Yeah.
would say 20, going on 21 years
Yeah.
later. So man, it's been definitely a journey, and then from there, actually switched over to the Coast Guard because I thought it would be a little bit more family friendly as we were having our first son,
Yeah.
Isaiah. But I ended up going right back to another boat. And then I served that time on the boat as Danielle was in school still. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did about, I think the first like 6 to 7 years of our marriage. I think it may even been 8 years. No.
No,
The
it was
first the
five,
first five, yeah, first okay, five. All
five
right.
and a half
We'll call
years.
it five. All right,
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, so that was spent apart. And basically it was mainly spent apart because I was in school finishing because I wanted
Hmm.
to make sure I did that. And then yeah, we had our little ones. Brian was, out doing his thing, supporting the country, serving. Um,
I was deployed on the boat. I was on a USS Wasp. Then from there, I went to a security station in the Florida Keys
mhm,
for about 6, 8 months. And then I went right back to another boat in the Coast Guard. This one was now on the West Coast.
yeah.
And so did that whole thing, and that was definitely tough. But right after that boat is when our life kind of started changing.
Yeah.
I was able to pick my first duty station, which took me to the DC area. Yeah. So,
So I feel like when life like actually like for real started, I had gotten my first job there.
mhm,
I was working at Williams Adley, and basically that was a an accounting firm, minority owned accounting firm that was in DC. Also is in it was also based in California, and basically like Brian was able to get transferred there. We kind of had this plan. And yeah, that's where we finally like were together as a family and started out everything on our journey for real.
Yeah, and then I think you were you doing business consulting there or
Yeah, so I started off doing IT audits, and did that for about 4 years, and then after that, or 4 to 5 years, and then after that period, that's when we ended up moving to Seattle, and that's when I ended up started working with EY.
if you started working with them and then I was at Bay Seattle
Yeah.
up there, and that's when our started to change as far as being entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Because once we got those orders to Seattle, Washington, then we were like, okay, we can rent another house. It was super expensive because at the time, 2015 ish, Seattle was one of the fastest growing cities at
Mhm.
the time. So getting out there, we were able to buy a home
Yeah, because
and
rent at the time was literally double the rent
yeah,
that we were paying in DC.
yeah.
It was gonna be like $3,000 for
Yeah.
us to rent a house in Seattle. It's wild. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
so we were like, all right, well, we'll just go ahead and try to buy something and see
Yeah.
how that works out. Definitely was stressful
Yes.
because we were just having those first time buyer thoughts.
Mhm.
Like, well, what if we can't sell it? And it's like we haven't even bought a house before. So
Yeah.
why are we thinking about selling it already? And we still have a long time before any of that would even come into play. So we went on ahead and bought the house and ended up being one of the best decisions.
Yeah, for sure. Because we stayed in Seattle for I think 5 years, and then we were able to basically get off of it and make what
About after taxes and everything is said and done, we made about close to 2K or whatnot off of that investment. And within that, before we sold the houses back up a little bit, we started a barbershop
yeah.
while we were in the area. One of our friends to this day, Dex, he actually still owns a barbershop in the Seattle area, South Center, near the South Center Mall. So if y'all in the area, go check him out.
Debonair.
Yep. But he came to us with an opportunity because when we first moved to the area, like I was saying, I was going to this barber shop where I met him at, and he moved on as the years passed to open up his own shop. But during COVID, the shop that I met him in went out of business. And around that time, my wife and I were just having talks about kind of saying yes to the next opportunity that came up.
Yeah, I feel like that I knew that I was kind of ready to like kind of jump out there because at that point in time, I think I was in my, like, 1st or 2nd year, like, as a senior manager at EY, and so, at that point, like, once I got, like, to that point, I was just like, I mean, I'm running these projects. It's literally like I'm, like, running a business.
Yeah.
You had to go out there, you had to get your work, you had to go and you had to sustain your work, and you had to basically keep track of everything. So, I was at that point or whatever, like, I think that that's when I knew for sure that I was ready, and that's the reason why at the beginning of that particular year, we were like, "Let's do this thing." So
Yeah, absolutely. And when he came to us with that, it's like one of those moments that how could he know that we were talking about? Like,
right.
what the hell? It was like literally, we made that decision, then the opportunity came. Like literally 1 or 2 days later. And we was like, all right.
Yeah.
So we just started the process and we were like, okay, so what do we need to do? I will say that it was a blessing that we had the guidance of someone a little bit who has
Mhm,
already been in that world.
mhm.
So when we got there, one thing that we were able to do is pull from our many talents that we had to pick up from you being a business consultant and me being a deck seaman to all the way up to a storekeeper from what I was doing, but just in the military. That's what I'm talking about. Just pulling from that to design the spot,
Yeah.
and Danielle designed the whole spot, and me and my sons, we were able to get some free labor and put it all together. So that was really cool for it to be a real family owned business. And we really put our own sweat equity into seeing it all the way through.
Yeah, I think that it was awesome. We were able to actually keep this thing to design everything like within like the first like 3 to 4 months of the year. It opened in April, and then essentially we ended up having to sell it because we did end up moving to California for Brian's last duty station. I think that that also had a lot of like learning lessons as well. It was like,
Absolutely. I would say the biggest learning lessons just was going into a space and figuring out kind of how you can make it your own and
mhm,
put your own imprint on it. So once my wife came up with the design for it, then it was like getting all the right equipment, being able to source things
mhm,
as cheap as possible and still good quality stuff. And the way we were able to do that was just buying some stuff. Luckily, it was on sale at the time, and we put everything together ourselves.
yeah,
So put all the equipment together, did the flooring, I did the painting, the back wall, bathrooms, everything we needed to do, we did it ourselves. And then when it came to getting barbers in there, my man Dex helped us get our first two in there. He knew a couple of guys. And then after that, it was kind of up to us because we couldn't depend on someone else to run it.
mhm.
After that, we found barbers, and we were able to start making some pretty decent revenue over that. How long did we have it?
I think we had it for maybe about 14 months, something like that.
So yeah, we were able to do that, and like my wife said, I got stationed in California after that, so we had to go through with the sale of it, and it was a successful sale. But we always talk about we wish that, or not, we wish that, but moving forward, we know better how to pass a business over.
But yeah,
You know, just
yeah.
giving different tips of the trade that we picked up on and stuff like that. And just an effort to always be better.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like that we definitely know more now too, because we bought a business or whatever with the vineyard, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But even the way that we were kind of like consulted and like all of that, like as we were passing everything over with this, I totally have even more learnings or whatever on what to do when we sell our next one. So,
Absolutely. And I guess after that, we sell the house,
yep, sell the house.
sell the house, and go ahead and make the move to California. And we start with Bivins Group.
Yeah, well, fourplex.
Yeah. So we got actually before we get to the government contracting, we actually bought a fourplex
Mhm.
that it was 3 units were 2 bedroom, 1 bath, and 1 unit is a 3 bedroom, 1 bath. When we first got it, it was great. We were renting it out. We were seeing some pretty good returns from that. And like anything, any investment over time, you have to put some money into it.
Yep.
You want to kind of talk about what's going on?
Yeah, so we bought in the Clark Fulton neighborhood. We did have to end up putting some money in it to
Mhm.
kind of rehab it so that it was kind of the way that we wanted it to be. Because I think the goal for us was to provide people with homes that they would like to come home to. And like Brian said, like we were able to get the full thing rented out. And then after that, we ended up having the majority of our tenants move out. And essentially what happened was that because it was in Clark Fulton, which is an up and coming neighborhood, the house ended up getting vandalized like while it was vacant right before we were actually getting ready to start moving
New
new
tenants.
tenants in. And so yeah, so right now we're kind of also we've been learning how to deal with insurance claims.
Man, because on top of that, vandalism claim, right as soon as that happened, a storm came through and a damn tree fell on the building.
Yeah.
And so we were dealing with that simultaneously, the vandalism claim and the storm damage.
Yeah.
And then after that, our contractor backed out of the job
Yeah.
because I guess for whatever reason, he had a lot going on. We got a letter from the property management company saying, hey, if this company contacts you, don't pay them, don't reach out to them, let us know. And as that was happening, started to notice the communication lapses that we were having and put two and two together. And that really set us back because of the fact we spent out money, just listening instead of doing our due diligence. So yeah, so we had to deal with the consequences of not being on top of a contractor or taking someone's word for it and not being all the way on top of it. So that's definitely a lump that we took with the
Mhm.
fourplex.
But I do think that it is a situation to where I feel like we learned some stuff, like you said, like staying on top of everything, due diligence. I do feel like though that I don't know. I feel like that during this time, because this all has been kind of also happening, like while we're doing what we're currently doing, is the resilience and like being creative and actually like just keep going like that because it's been so many times where you could have given up or whatever, but I do feel like that the resilience there to just keep going and try to find like the right contractor to complete the job is something that I admire kind of about like what you've been doing or whatever with that. So,
Oh, I appreciate that. I would say something that I've noticed to add on to your part about like just keep going is also the resources. It's a lot of resources out here, but you have to be doing the work.
I feel like that actually brings us to like a good point to where we are currently today.
Yeah.
You retired, right?
Yeah, so I did 21 years in the military. Once we got out, started doing some government contracting.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we started the government contracting company and got everything filled up
Yeah.
and done while I was in, just because I had that motivation of just, wow, I can do this, I can do this, we can make some extra money with certain certifications. And it's just something that I was familiar with because I've been doing it for, out of the 21 years I'm in the military, I was doing it 17 years,
Yeah.
being the storekeeper and dealing with government purchasing, government contracts, supply chain issues, shipping and receiving. So I got the whole gambit in that kind of logistics world.
Yeah.
And having these certifications like veteran owned, uh, service disabled owned, are invaluable if you know how to use
Yeah, and I feel like that I was super excited to start down that path. Because even after leaving from doing dealing with government agencies either through audit or as a consultant with the Navy, I ended up going and that was kind of a part of like my just overall go to market strategy as a senior manager was to make commercial companies more aware of those that were government contractors, make sure that they actually understood the clauses that were actually in their contract and how that affected them from an IT compliance perspective. So definitely was always familiar with contracts, with government contracting, because I was one technically um, for the first part of my career. And then also, too, like ended up trying to help get some pretty big companies compliant from like an IT compliance perspective. So I was excited about Bivins Group. We didn't actually operationalize it though until this year.
Yeah, so we everything was done in preparation to kind of start this business once I was getting out of the military. We didn't exactly know what we were going to be doing, but we knew that this was something that could give us that kind of quote unquote remote work.
Yeah.
We can do it from anywhere depending on how your business is structured. That
Yeah.
is.
Consistently between your fifth and eighth contract, you're gonna win. And we ended up hitting on like our eighth contract, and then I think we hit our eighth like proposal, and then we ended up hitting again like on our 10th.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I think another one was Kizzy Parks and was Sheena Panur.
Yeah.
Uh, and a few other ones we got to think of, but you know, we looked at a lot of online content just to see kind of how fast people were putting stuff out and how they were doing and their different ways of thinking, because we knew it from us. Well, I'll just speak for myself. I know the government contracting space from, like I say, procurement and also awarding people in our place now contracts.
Yeah.
So if a company wanted to come on one of my bases and redo the bathroom, they were sending in those bids, or I was the one reaching out for bids and doing all that. So it became second nature, and we were blessed to be able, like we say, we won those contracts. The two contracts that we won were with the Coast Guard, which
Yeah.
is amazing. You can kind of get into those if you want.
Yeah, so the contracts with the Coast Guard are really cool. So we are doing storage units, which purely is literally what it sounds like. Like, we basically have a contract where we have a whole bunch of storage units across the US, and we provide them for the Coast Guard for the members that are in those locations. And then also we have a service-based contract, which is laundry, and we do laundry for the base in Elizabeth City. I feel like that is really cool because we play up definitely the fact that we're a service disabled veteran-owned company, and I feel like that we also play up and also specifically go after Coast Guard contracts because Brian was in the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that just by doing that, it makes this connection with the people that you deal with, whether it's the contracting officer or whether it's the person that you deal with, like when you actually have to like go and do your work. You understand like what it is that they kind of like are going through during
Sure.
transfer season or whatever. And just by like kind of what we were talking about at the beginning, like the relationship management and like understanding the importance of that and just being like a good, genuine human, I feel like has gone such a long way, like since like just with having delivered on these contracts so far.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And not for nothing, it's always good to have something in that's bringing in a little extra money.
Yeah.
You know, it it comes in, and it's like right now, for example, with the government shutdown affecting everyone.
Yeah.
Some payments are behind as they catch up and stuff like that. But all in all, I definitely still think it's a blessing that we're able to have our own company. And, it's
Yeah.
going to be ups and downs, and you're going to have to kind of adapt
Yeah,
in
for sure.
business. So if those payments are late due to the government shutdown, we do have a clause in the contract
Yes.
that we will be reimbursed and paid. So, you just have to make sure that you're able to maintain and keep an eye on what's going on in the world so you can kind of react and pivot as you need to.
Yeah. And I think that was a great thing to point out because the thing is that I feel like a lot of people may be hesitant to do work or whatever with the government. But I will say this. I feel like that anybody can do it. I feel like that it's a situation to where all you need is something for real that you're interested in, or that can pique your interest enough. I feel like I don't scroll on social media. I feel like that I scroll sam.gov and, to see what type of other cool like solicitations that are out there. I know that the country is totally being affected by jobs being lost and like all of that. But I feel like that the one thing that we found that's consistent is that the government is always looking for some sort of product, some sort of service, whatever, because they need it, because of the changes that they like keep making. So, yeah.
They're the they do business in every sector. So,
Yeah. And
it's always some money to be made with the government.
it's over $1 billion trillion business that they end up paying people like us to basically support and actually to help it run. So
over the time, we'll get into more of what we do
yeah,
in the government contracting space, how we do our proposals, and all different types of stuff, just as a value add piece
yeah,
to
yeah,
help people. Because in times like this, if you can take some free time and have a little side hustle that doesn't cost you anything but a little bit of creativity and taking some time to do some research, these are the things that people really need to know about,
right.
because one contract can change your life, or it could pay your mortgage or your rent for the next 4 years of foreseeable future. So
Yeah,
yeah, and then but and then we have
we've got this.
this this place that we're at right now, this vineyard, that's been a new addition to our family.
Yes.
I would say we just finished our first year of harvesting and farming,
Yeah.
our first full year. So I guess, Love, you can get into it a little bit,
Yeah.
and then I'll go from there.
So, last year we closed on this place September 30, and we've had it for a year now. I guess kind of like how did we get here as far as the vineyard is concerned? Like I mentioned, I was in consulting, was a senior manager. I'm sure it's a lot of people um, that happen to a lot of people experience burnout. I experienced it like a couple of times as a senior manager. But the last time was pretty bad with just anxiety and depression. And it wasn't something that really, I feel like a lot of people could really detect at my job. And then also like with the boys. But with the support of Brian, he actually helped me to figure out how that I could get help, which it was something that I really needed. I took off for 9 months, and essentially during that 9 month period, I really got into like learning about the wine industry. I was already a sommelier, and I started my blog, Some Damn Good Wine, where I like was writing about the wine that I was reviewing because I wanted to stay active with my sommelier studies. And which kind of led me to wanting to be in the wine industry. Which fast forward ended up being a conversation while drinking wine at a vineyard one day as to like, hey, I know you want to open a bar. I know you want to be a wine merchant. I know you want to be in this industry, but have you ever thought about like owning all of this? And so,
Yeah, it
yeah,
kind of started out as a joke a little bit,
yeah,
like, would you ever? Then we started looking at some prices, and we were like, well, we can make it happen. At the time, we were still in California,
yeah.
so we knew that we couldn't do it out that way. It's
It's
just,
expensive.
it's very expensive, and it was just a little bit oversaturated, and for what we were looking for,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to get a big property like this, 30 acres, with the the tools that we need, and the barn, and we
Mm-hmm.
also have a horse stable out here, all the vines behind us.
Yeah.
So you know, moving out here gave us the opportunity to be able to get a good value.
Creek on the land. We 9 of the acres are cleared, which is what you see kind of like around in the back of us, and then there's some more that's behind kind of like the cameras here.
And back in the back, is 4.5, 5 acres of grapes.
Yeah, so we've got Muscat Blanc, which is a delicacy here. Petit Verdot, which is our amazing award winner.
Yeah, it won.
Say it again.
Yeah,
Award winner.
multiple awards won with that grape varieties, the wine made from it.
Yeah.
So that grape variety is those two on this side we can sell at a premium.
Yeah. And then on the other side, we've got Cabernet Sauvignon, and we've got a hybrid grape variety called Traminette.
Yeah, and so just going through the year, farming, learning how to farm.
Yeah.
That's what we did a lot of this year. Um, and nothing, as in life, is guaranteed. So when
Mm-mm.
we got this property, we thought we would have another contract,
Yeah.
and we did not. They just kind of it didn't work out, and we just lost communication with them for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And we were, which it's okay because this is a business that we bought, and so we had to move forward. But definitely not expecting that brought some stress.
Yes.
And are we doing this? Was this the right decision type of deal?
Hmm.
And that could be rough.
Yeah, it was. But I feel like that we've had like rough moments throughout this year because I feel like that everything that we've done is new. Like literally everything that we did this year was all new. And so it was literally us feeling through that and then also trying to solution our way through that and all and everything that came along with it. I think that that was the one thing that I'm super proud of because we literally had to have a conversation of, okay, so it's either that we're going to cut this shit off the vine and we're just going to drop it now and all of the work that we put into it is just gone, or we're going to try to see if we can sell it. So we had to get real active, like to actually get the rest of our grapes sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we did. We had to get into some marketing,
Yeah.
some social media marketing,
Yeah.
networking type deals, just to let people know what we had going on out here. And I'll be honest, I'm always shocked as to,
Mhm.
because I'm not a big social media person, or I wasn't before we started doing
Yeah,
this.
for sure.
In this past year, I maybe on social media had a 50, 80 followers, and I'm not crushing it now, but just, 1,500, 4 or 5,000, 6,000 people just, you know, uh, liking what you got going on, or, sending it to someone else is really cool. But what came out of that was grape sales.
Yeah,
We,
yeah. We ended up selling the Muscat Blanc to Muse Vineyards, so thank you so much for that.
yeah, that was in Woodstock,
Yes.
Virginia. That's like 3 4 2 2 3 hours from here.
Yeah, I think it was like three.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 hours from here. Um,
Fable and Feathers bought from us.
that's about
They were in Goodview, Virginia. They were about an hour
an
away.
hour away.
I think that they came to us because of a connection that we had with Home Place, which is
Okay,
another winery.
in
But
the
I also
area.
but I also think that it was also because of social media too. I don't know, but it was like some back channeling plus like validation via social media. So I think that that was super dope.
Yeah, that was great. Reaching out to them, and then ultimately our biggest one, we sold grapes, and we had to leave the state, a few states, and
Yeah.
go up to rent a refrigerated truck and go up to New Hampshire. And we documented a good amount of all these things on our social media. But it's just crazy to know that you can go from having no contracts to
Yeah, we're good.
you can go from having no contracts to having like all that you need.
Yeah.
And you can go from having no employees out here, but still having volunteers show up. And so I think also that makes you show a little bit of gratitude, because
Yeah.
it's like we're just like literally moved out this motherfucker and started farming.
Yeah.
And we've had people pull up on us and just ask questions. Like we have people in the neighborhood that just pulls up and why'd you do this? How's it going? And so those are the type of things I think has been really cool as well.
Yeah, I think so. And then also too to find out that there's other people that are curious about farming.
Yeah.
And it's like it would be a person that you wouldn't even expect. But the thing is that because you're sharing your experience, um, like we're doing now, it provides some level, I feel like, of inspiration for other people. And I feel like that that's the thing that I love. I feel like is
Yeah.
being able to provide that.
It's just offering because for me, this was a real uncomfortable thing. Just, doing a social media or talking about your life in
Mm-hmm.
that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so one way that I am able to use this to kind of get past that is moving forward. Like if you come on here and you're talking about something, then you're not forced, but it can give you the a motivation to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
So you say,
Oh yeah,
okay,
for sure.
I'm out here doing this, talking about the vineyard. Let me make sure that I'm keeping up with everything. Let
Yeah.
me make sure that something that we've been doing a lot lately that we've learned from a year of up and down farming is that you got to start each day with a purpose and a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Getting up in the morning, like I hear people saying that all the time. And
Yeah.
I guess until I really had to run my life like that, which is farming has done, because a lot of the work you want to do out here
Mm-hmm.
in the earliest possible. So
Yes.
you have the rest of your day. And so with that, you got to get up early in the morning. You got to get started. You got to have a plan for what you're doing with the day. I mean, you're married. You got to plan to spend time together. Like everything needs some focus. So bringing balance and some peace in your life is very important.